So going over the first method again, if you are given profit or loss in percentage, in order to convert that profit or loss from percentage to rupees, we require the cost price. But in this question, the cost price was missing. So we had taken it to be X. And then using X, I have converted that loss percent, which is 20 over here. I'll just see if I can mark it again. Over here, मेरे पास loss percent था. To convert it into loss in rupees, I have combined that 20% with CP. CP is in X. And then the answer comes out to be X by 5 rupees. Now, the next step is to find out the selling price. Selling price in case of loss is given by CP minus L. This is the formula to find out the selling price. This is something like exactly what we did in the previous question. If you go back to question number 5, हमने पहले profit निकाला था in first method and then हमने selling price का formula लिखा था. Same thing we will be doing here. Once you have calculated loss in rupees, we will be calculating selling price. Now put the values here. Selling price तो हमें पहले से पता है. So this will be 13,500 equals to cost price is X minus the loss is X over 5. You can write down 1 also, but 1 into X is X. So on the right hand side, I will be taking LCM. X can be written as X over 1. The LCM will be 5. And then you can just simplify. Now, I would like you to compare it with your right side, the second method. You have already done that. I think this is the same step as this one. So we have the same step as we had in second method, but this was obtained after working so much. From here, I would like to find X. I'm rewriting this. The values containing X, I'm writing them on left-hand side. And okay, just a minute, Sahaj. The values which contain X, I'm going to write those on left-hand side, and the value which does not have any variable, means the constant, I'm going to bring it to the right-hand side. This is like swapping the sides. So I am just swapping the sides. Right-hand side becomes left-hand side becomes right-hand side. I think now you can solve and you will get the same answer as you obtained in second method. Now, before I solve it further, Saj, you're asking, beta, how come 1x by 5 is x by 5? 1 into x, 1x actually means 1 multiplied by x. This here, this means 1 multiplied by x. And when you multiply any number with 1, the answer is number itself. Is that correct?
Yes, ma'am.
That's why in the numerator, you could write down 1x or you could simply write, it will be one and the same thing. It will not be wrong. So if you want to avoid writing that 1, you can omit that. But while solving, if you think 1 will be like helpful to you, you can write that down. मैंने पहले नहीं लिखा था, बाद में मैंने लिख दिया था. Because later it helps. 5x minus 1x will be 4x. And then I'm going to now take this 5 from the denominator and take it to the right hand side. And from here you can solve. And you get the same fraction which you had on second method last step. Now simplify. This is 3375. And when you multiply, your answer comes out to be 16,875.
Excuse me, ma'am.
Yes, beta.
Ma'am, on my screen there is written swapping sides. After this, there is written nothing.
Let me just see. So I think now you have decided that which of the two methods is easier. The first method sometimes seems easier when the cost price is given to you, like in question 5. But when the cost price is missing, then your question becomes difficult in the way, because it now becomes like a question from simple equations. ये लगता नहीं इस चैप्टर का क्वेश्चन है, ये इक्वेशंस वाला क्वेश्चन बन जाता है. तो we avoid doing this. Although you can do this, you might find this in some of the books, especially if you're preparing for competitions. हो सकता है कि in any of the questions you come across this way of questions solved. So don't think that this is something new and you haven't been taught that. So this is something you could keep in mind when you are preparing for competitive exams. But for your syllabus or while you're doing your exercise, I will prefer that you use the second method. There is one more question just like this. Let's do that. Question number 7 of the exercise is deleted. And before I just move further, let me know if you have written this. Anyone who's writing?
Ma'am, please wait for 1 minute.
Sure, sure.
Done, ma'am.
Done, ma'am.
Let's take a look at the exercise. Question number 7 is deleted, so you can just mark that. Then question number 8, Amina buys a book for 275 rupees. So she buys the book for 275, means this will be the cost price. And she sells it at a loss of 15%. You have been given the loss percentage. How much does she sell it for? You have to find out the selling price. So I'm going to do this now with method number 2. And I think you all will agree with me.
Yes, ma'am.
If anyone still wants to do it with the first method, you can go ahead and do it. Question number 7 is deleted. Question number 8, and I'm going to do this with the second method, which has the direct formula. So I'm going to first of all write down the statement. I have the cost of the book. Then I have the loss percentage, and I want to find out the SP of book. Be careful wherever you have units, please write the units. The formula for SP is SP equals to CP multiplied by 100. Since it's loss, we will have minus loss percentage, and in the denominator, we will have 100. Now using the values, CP is 275 multiplied by, in the brackets, I will have 100 minus 15. over 100. Don't cancel the 100 with 100. Solve your brackets and then obtain the answer. Now, I would prefer something here. Don't go and cancel out this 100. Multiply your numerator. Something which we did in fractions also. If you have a denominator 100, don't cancel it unless you are sure that it will be completely cancelled. 100 को कटिंग करके तब तक नहीं आपने टच करना जब तक आपको इस बात की श्योरिटी नहीं है कि 100 कंप्लीटली कैंसिल आउट हो जाएगा और नीचे सिर्फ 1 रह जाएगा, तब तक नहीं हमने कैंसिल आउट करना. For the time being, what I'm going to do is I'm going to multiply my numerators. From the numerators, I get 23,375. In the denominator, I have 100. And then you can just use the 100 to put the decimal back. इन केस आप कटिंग करते आपका आंसर फिर फ्रैक्शंस में आता एंड अगर आप पीछे उसको मैच करते हो बुक में गिवन आंसर के साथ, the answer is given in decimals, so you would have to convert it into decimals, but that's completely optional. But just a suggestion, if you are having a value containing 10, 100,000 in the denominator, don't touch that 10, 100,000 unless you are sure that उनकी कटिंग होके सिर्फ 1 रह जाएगा, वो खत्म ही हो जाएंगे. Otherwise, let them be as such. Numerator पे काम कर लो और बाद में उस denominator को use करना to put the point back. Till question number 8, we have questions based on cost price, selling price, profit and loss, profit loss percentage. After this, there are 3 more questions which are based on a new topic. So complete this and then we will discuss the formulae that we have, the terms we will be using, what they mean, and how it is useful in our day-to-day life.
Excuse ma'am.
Yes, Bhavleen?
मैम ये वाले क्वेश्चन में क्वेश्चन नंबर 8 में मैम आपने बताया कि आप हम डेसिमल में भी लिख सकते हैं या फ्रैक्शन में भी हम 100 को कट करके लिख सकते हैं. हम डेसिमल में लिखना इम्पोर्टेंट है? हमने
नेसेसरली जरूरी नहीं है, बट अगर आप यहाँ पे करते कटिंग, लेट्स सी अगर हम यहाँ पे कटिंग करते 275 into 85 over 100, so you can see we have numbers containing 5 and 0. 5 से डिवाइड कर देते हैं इसको, you will have this, and then again अभी भी 5 से कटिंग हो रही है, फिर से कैंसल आउट कर दो, so this becomes 55. And then you are left with this 55 into 17 by 4. So इसको आप मल्टीप्लाई करके आंसर दे सकते हो 55 into 17. This will be 935 by 4. So this will be the answer. And in case you divide this, अगर आप इसको divide करते हो तो आपका
When we have to do, when we also have to show this,
no, बेटा, I'm just showing कि अगर हम कटिंग करके आंसर देते, अगर हम कटिंग करके आंसर देते तो आप यहाँ पे फ्रैक्शंस पे आप लिख सकते थे आंसर, या फिर आप डेसिमल्स में कन्वर्ट करके दे सकते हो. बट स्टिल आपको कटिंग करनी पड़ी, आपको कटिंग भी करनी पड़ी, आपको मल्टीप्लाई भी करना पड़ा, आपको 2 चीजें करनी पड़ी. Whereas the method that I have used, I did only multiplication and then from the denominator I have used it to put the point back. और अगर वहां कटिंग में गड़बड़ हो जाए फिर आपका आंसर आगे गड़बड़ हो जाएगा. यहाँ पे सिर्फ एक मल्टीप्लिकेशन करनी है न्यूमिरेटर की, दैट्स इट. एंड देन 100 की हेल्प से तो हम सीधा पॉइंट लगा सकते हैं. इन अगर याद रहे तो लाइक हो सकता है कि इट कुड हेल्प यू इन नंबर्स वेयर यू हैव क्वेश्चंस वेयर यू हैव लार्ज नंबर्स टू वर्क विद. तो हम प्रेफर करते हैं कि कटिंग ना करें, बिना कटिंग के हमारा आंसर सीधा आ जाए, तो हम न्यूमिरेटर सॉल्व करेंगे. आधा काम कर रहे हैं हम, सिर्फ न्यूमिरेटर की मल्टीप्लिकेशन कर रहे हैं, डिनोमिनेटर को टच भी नहीं किया. There are students who face problem when they are cutting these values. Tables में गड़बड़ हो जाती है because tables नहीं learned होते. I hope it's clear now, Bhavleen. I'm not sure if she can hear me. I want you to go back to the first page of this exercise where you've written the formulae. Let's discuss the next topic that we have. So this is the next
Excuse
topic
ma'am.
that we have. Yes, beta.
मैम किसी के बैकग्राउंड से मैम हॉर्न का साउंड आ रहा है मैम
That's in my
के
background. I
हॉर्न का
cannot turn it off because if I turn my mic off, you will not be able to listen to me. It's in my background. There's outside a truck. I can hear that. I know. Okay. I'm not sure. I think Bhavleen has been disconnected, so we will see. So this is the next topic that we have. Usually we refer to it as simple interest. So all the terms we will be using here are in relation with simple interest. The word simple is used because the calculation is really simple. Next year, you will be learning about compound interest. So something which is common here, simple interest, and the topic that you'll have next year, compound interest. The word interest is common. So what actually is interest, speaking mathematically? This is a commercial term, actually, commercial maths hai ye. The money we borrow or we lend to someone and the charge we put on that. For example, people take loan from banks. That's borrowed money. Is that right?
Yes, ma'am.
You have to
Yes,
return that money. Loan is not something the
Yes,
bank is
ma'am.
going to give you and then forget it. You have to return it. And there is some extra charge that you have to return when you are returning the borrowed money. Suppose
मैम
आपने
इंटरेस्ट
yes, suppose आपने 5 लाख का लोन लिया है, जब आप बैंक को रिटर्न करोगे, you return it in installments, and what you do is there is a little extra money that you return alongside. वो जो एक्स्ट्रा मनी आप वापस कर रहे हो, इट इज द चार्ज दैट द बैंक पुट्स ऑन दैट बोरोड मनी. आपको वो पैसे लेंड करने के लिए जो उसने कॉस्ट लगाई है, ऐसे सोच के चलते हैं, तो उसको हम इंटरेस्ट बोलते हैं. आपने ये सुना होगा डे टू डे लाइफ में, इवन व्हेन यू गो एंड बाय अ व्हीकल, आप कोई चीज खरीदते हो, आप ईएमआईज पे खरीदते हो, easy monthly installments पे, right? Installments पे खरीदते हो तो sometimes those EMIs are free of interest. उन पे कोई इंटरेस्ट नहीं
यस
होता,
मैम
राइट? लेकिन समटाइम्स देयर इज अ इंटरेस्ट चार्ज. उससे क्या होता है, आपकी चीज महंगी हो जाती है. Now, if you people are like aware of online shopping, you can go and look online. For example, look for the cost of iPhone 12. उसकी कॉस्ट आप चेक करोगे and then look at the offers that the websites are providing. If you pay the total amount once, there is no extra money charged. Maybe you get an offer instead. अगर आप पूरा का पूरा अमाउंट एक ही बार में पे करते हो. But if you decide to go for EMIs, if you want to buy that phone in installments, and what you will see is that the banks charge some money on that. तो cost increase हो जाती है. Is that right?
Yes, ma'am.
So that extra money is called the interest. Or there are two ways you can calculate the interest.
Okay, ma'am.
One is called simple interest, the other one is called compound interest. When you deposit some money in the bank, अब सभी बैंक में मनी सेव करते हैं, और होता क्या है, आफ्टर अ सर्टेन पीरियड ऑफ टाइम उसमें बैंक अपनी तरफ से कुछ कंट्रीब्यूशन करता है. ये भी होता है. आर यू अवेयर?
Yes, ma'am.
मैम
Yes,
यस
यस, ये भी होता है. जब हम बोरो करते हैं तो हमें एक्स्ट्रा पे करना पड़ता है, लेकिन जब हम सेव करते हैं, हम बैंक के पास अपनी मनी रख रहे हैं, दैट मींस वी आर नाउ गिविंग द मनी टू द बैंक, एंड बैंक क्या करता है, उसको आगे इन्वेस्ट करता है. जो आगे लोग लोन चाहते हैं उनको आपकी मनी दे दी जाती है, एंड देन उनसे जो वो एक्स्ट्रा कॉस्ट लेते हैं वो आपको रिटर्न होती है एज इंटरेस्ट. So there is this link going on between the people who are borrowing money from the bank. कुछ लोग बैंक से मनी लोन पे ले रहे हैं, और कुछ लोग अपनी जो मनी है वो सेफ रखने के लिए बैंक में डिपॉजिट कर देते हैं. तो जो डिपॉजिट कर रहे हैं उनको बैंक इंटरेस्ट देता है, लेकिन जो बोरो कर रहे हैं, जिन्होंने लोन लिया है, वो बैंक को इंटरेस्ट देते हैं. The money that is being borrowed is called the principal. The word is principal. It's written here. So now you are aware of there are two kinds of principal with the same spellings. आपके स्कूल के प्रिंसिपल and this principal, this term is used with respect to interest. So the money that is borrowed either by a person from the bank or the money that you deposit in the bank, both will be considered principal. Then the interest is always charged annually most of the times, and it will be given in percentage. कि एक साल में वो आपको कितनी कॉस्ट लगाएंगे, वो आपको गिवन होगी परसेंटेज में, per annum. The word annum is a Latin word. It stands for year. So एक साल में कितने परसेंट इंटरेस्ट चार्ज होगा? It could be 2%, it could be 5%, it could be 10%. Sometimes the interest is given monthly, लेकिन हमें उसको yearly चाहिए. हम जब questions करेंगे हमें दोनों चीजें सेम चाहिए. Time period should be in years and the rate should be in sync with your time period. Time will tell you कितनी देर के लिए borrow की है, कितनी देर के लिए borrow की है या कितनी देर के लिए deposit की है. जैसे आपके
मैम
फिक्स्ड,
जितनी जल्दी हम लोन वापस करेंगे मैम उतनी हमें उतना ही इंटरेस्ट कम पड़ेगा.
that's correct. And then simple interest is the charge that is put on that borrowed money. और जब हम वापस करते हैं वो मनी जो हमने बोरो की होती है, हमें दो चीजें वापस करनी होती हैं. एक तो जो हमने मनी बोरो की थी, जो हमने मनी बोरो की थी वो था प्रिंसिपल, वो भी वापस करना पड़ेगा. और जो कॉस्ट लगी, जो चार्ज लगा, वो भी वापस करना पड़ेगा. उस चार्ज का नाम क्या रखा हुआ है हमने? सिंपल इंटरेस्ट. सो ये दोनों चीजें बैंक को वापस करनी पड़ती हैं, बैंक को या फिर आपने जिससे भी बोरो की है. Earlier it used to be like people borrowing money from people. Even these days it happens, but sometimes if it's like maybe friendship, the people would not charge the interest. लेकिन कई professionally
ma'am.
money lend करते हैं. People lend money professionally and then they put interest on that. I hope these terms are clear. Anyone who wants to ask what these terms mean?
मैम रेट ऑफ इंटरेस्ट एक बार दोबारा बता दो मैम, वो थोड़ा सा समझ नहीं आया.
रेट ऑफ इंटरेस्ट से पता चलेगा, रेट ऑफ इंटरेस्ट आपको बताएगा कि कितना इंटरेस्ट चार्ज करना है. व्हेन वी डू द क्वेश्चंस तब आपको ये ज्यादा सेंस मतलब लगेगी कि हम किस चीज की बात कर रहे थे. अगर आप बात करो घर पे या फिर आपने सुनी हो कॉन्वर्सेशंस या फिर जो मैं ईएमआईज की एग्जांपल दे रही हूँ, अगर आपने वो भी देखा हो तो उसमें वो इंटरेस्ट जब लिखते हैं वो परसेंटेज में लिखते हैं. 2%.
यस मैम.
Yes, that's rate of interest. कितने परसेंट वो
Okay.
चार्ज करेंगे. yes. और वो एनुअली होता है. एनुअली मींस ईयरली. द वर्ड एनम स्टैंड्स फॉर ईयर और हम इसको इन शॉर्ट पर एनम को PA लिख देंगे. पर एनम विल बी रिटन एज P.A. पर एनम. एनम का मतलब ईयर है. एक साल में कितने परसेंट रेट लगेगा. और फिर हमारे पास टाइम पीरियड भी होगा कि कितने टाइम पीरियड के लिए मनी बोरो की गई है या लेंड की गई है. एंड देन द मनी दैट वी वांट टू,
मैम जितना ज्यादा हम टाइम पीरियड लेंगे उनको वापस करने में उतना ही हमें रेट ऑफ इंटरेस्ट ज्यादा बढ़ेगा, और जितना हम कम टाइम पीरियड लेंगे उतना ही हमारा रेट ऑफ इंटरेस्ट कम होगा.
that's wonderful. But sometimes the longer the time, the installments are shorter and that's convenient for the person, so they agree with having more interest than paying large amounts at once. So if a person cannot return the loan in big installments, the person prefers कि उसको लंबे टाइम में, like maybe in 3, 5, 10 years थोड़ा थोड़ा करके वापस कर दें. But yes, अच्युत is correct, जितना ज्यादा टाइम के लिए हम रिटर्न करेंगे उतना ज्यादा इंटरेस्ट पड़ता जाएगा. Then amount to be returned is represented by capital A. It includes both the principal and the simple interest. जो हमने एक्चुअल में पैसे बोरो किए थे और उस पे जो कॉस्ट पड़ गई, दोनों रिटर्न करना, दोनों का टोटल जो होगा. यूनिट्स का ध्यान रखना. सिंपल इंटरेस्ट इज इन रुपीज, प्रिंसिपल इज ऑल्सो इन रुपीज, दीज आर मनी. Rate of interest will be in percentage per annum and the time period will be in years. In case the time period is not in years, you will change it to years. What we would like to do is the units for the rate will be percentage per year, then time will be in years. रेट के साथ जो वर्ड लगा हुआ है वही टाइम में होना चाहिए. परसेंटेज पर मंथ होगा अगर, तो टाइम मंथ्स में चलेगा. अगर ये मैच नहीं करते तो हम चेंज करेंगे. आई विल डू वन एग्जाम्पल विद यू बेस्ड ऑन दैट. बुक में ऐसा क्वेश्चन नहीं है. The formula to find out the simple interest is really simple. You have to multiply P, R, and T. Principal, rate, and time. Denominator will have 100, and again rate is in percentage. लेकिन जब आपने यहाँ पे उसकी वैल्यू पुट करनी है तो परसेंटेज का साइन नहीं लगेगा ड्यूरिंग द कैलकुलेशन. वो परसेंटेज का 100 डिनोमिनेटर में ऑलरेडी लगा हुआ है. It could also be written like this: P into R % multiplied by T. So ये जो परसेंट है वो डिनोमिनेटर वाला 100 बन जाएगी. The formula is same. I'm going to go with this one. Let's do one question. I think it will help you understand what we exactly are talking about here. Theoretically हम बात करते जा रहे. Let's just work on a problem and see how this is applied in a question. Okay, Lovepreet. Sahaj beta, have you checked the answer? Question number 9 here. Find the amount to be paid at the end of 3 years. 3 years will be your time. Then in first part, principal is 1,200 rupees and it's given as, the rate of interest is given as 12% per annum. Now I told
12% per year.
Per annum likha hai. This PA means per annum. Per annum means per year. Sahaj beta, you would share your work with me afterwards and then I will check your calculation, see what the mistake is. Just send it to me on my personal number. I will check it. So let's do first part. We are going to write down principal. You can write down simply as capital P. It's 1,200 rupees. Then we have the rate as capital R, 12% per annum. And then we have the time. We'll represent it by capital T. It is given as 3 years. Now, step 1 will be to find out simple interest. Before you find out the amount, question में amount पूछा है. पहले हम simple interest निकालेंगे. This is represented by capital S, capital I, P multiplied by R multiplied by T over 100. Use the values that you have over here. 1200 multiplied by 12 multiplied by 3. In the denominator, you have 100 and you will know what the simple interest is. Find out the answer quickly and tell me. Now we want to find out the amount. So I would like to take the principal and the
432.
simple interest. I will add the two.
Ma'am, 432 is the amount.
432 is the simple interest.
Yes, ma'am.
Amount will be the sum of principal and simple interest. ये borrowed amount है और ये charge है. Return क्या करेंगे हम? दोनों चीजें.
Ma'am, yes, to equal करेंगे.
Yeah. So answer will be 1,632. Try the next one. Step 1 will be to find out the interest. Step 2 will be to find out the amount. Now you might have noticed this time I did not write those complete words. I have only written representations. Capital P means principal, capital R would mean rate of interest, capital T would mean time. So you don't have to write that down. You can simply write down PRT and then simple interest given by this formula. Multiply the values and solve. 7500 multiplied by 5 multiplied by 3. In the denominator you have 100, and tell me what the answer.
1125 is the simple
1120.
interest.
Okay, 0 and 0 get cancelled over here, and then step number 2 will be to find out your amount. Step 2, amount is given by P plus SI.
Ma'am, 8,625.
So this will be 7500 plus 1125. So this is 8625.
Yes.
This is your answer.
Excuse me, ma'am.
Yes, beta.
Ma'am, this is the amount that will be paid at the end of every 3 years.
Yes, the complete, the total amount, the total money that the person will have to return. उसने 7500 borrow किए थे और उसको charge कितना लगा?
Okay, ma'am.
Now, how the person wants to return depends उसने कैसे. Usually banks give the option to return the loan like in installments. So right now we are only calculating कि अगर कोई person इतनी money borrow कर रहा है, इतनी देर के लिए borrow कर रहा है, उसने 7,500 rupees borrow किए 3 years के लिए, और जो उसको charge लगेगा वो 5% per year के हिसाब से लगेगा. तो उसके according the person would need to return 8,625 rupees in total. अब रिटर्न कैसे करना है हम अभी वो नहीं डिस्कस कर रहे कि वो एनुअली रिटर्न कर रहा है या मंथली रिटर्न कर रहा है. इसको फिर डिवाइड कर देंगे वो, लाइक 8,625 कि उसने कितने इयर्स में रिटर्न करना है, कितने टाइम में,
डिवाइडेड बाय कितने इयर्स.
Okay, ma'am.
यस अगर
मैम
वो
अगर
ईयरली रिटर्न करना चाहता है. मोस्टली इट्स
मैम अगर हम मैम 4 months लिखे मैम, तो हम फिर भी डिवाइड करेंगे डिवाइडेड बाय 4.
वो पूछेंगे नहीं आपको. यू विल नॉट बी आस्क्ड हाउ द मनी विल बी रिटर्न्ड. वो क्वेश्चन नहीं होगा. आपको सिर्फ यही आएगा कि आउट ऑफ दीज 4 values only the question will be based on these what we have discussed, not
Okay.
what you're asking. Palak was I think referring to how would the person return the money, whether the person is going to give this money after every year or in total.
Yes.
So this is the total money to be returned. Now the bank will tell how it is to be returned. Usually it's monthly. अगर आप लोन लेते हो
Okay.
तो मंथली इंस्टॉलमेंट्स रिटर्न करनी पड़ती हैं बैंक को.
Okay.
मैम यस.
अगर कोई कार बोरो करने के लिए 5 लाख 10 लाख बोरो करता है, बैंक से लोन लेता है, तो पहले इंस्टॉलमेंट्स बन जाती हैं कि हम आपको अभी इनिशियली 10 लाख दे देंगे, बट एवरी मंथ यू विल बी रिटर्निंग दिस मनी टू अस. वो इतने इतने आपकी वैल्यू बनती है इंक्लूडिंग दैट अमाउंट.
यस मैम, अगर हम 2500 रुपीज उनको रिटर्न करते मैम, पर उस पे वो इंटरेस्ट रेट ऑफ इंटरेस्ट भी लगेगा.